Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Let's do a little world update. Situation report. You guys have been asking for it. How do I want to approach this? I know what I want to say. I'm just trying to figure out the order I want to hit you with it. I guess we'll just start. Everybody's talking about 10,000 plus people, the column coming up through Mexico, gonna storm our borders. What's going on there? A bunch, behind the scenes, more than meets the eye. 10,000 people didn't just decide to get together and all come to, how do you say the United States of America in Espanol? Estados something. There's money, there's logistics behind that. I spoke recently in another video about the logistics involved. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I was talking to somebody about that. Anyway, logistics are important. I said something because I said that amateurs argue tactics and professionals argue logistics. Anyway, there's money and there's coordination involved in this thing. So where's the money? Who's coordinating it? You can bet your bottom dollar that we know, meaning our government, Trump's advisors know who's behind it. What's really going on there? The Democrats have decided, this is too touchy of a subject. Elections are coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit. We don't want to touch it. Let's just let the Republicans play with this thing. The press, on the other hand, they're covering it. They're looking for drama. They're looking for the Trump administration to really screw the pooch. Let's understand what it is. It is an attempt to invade our country. You're not a country if you don't have borders. That's what defines your country. One of the things that defines your country. On a map, borders define your country. And you're not much of a country if you can't control your borders. Decide who you let in and who you do not let in. We have already decided who we let in. Boy, I could take that in two ways. Maybe I will. We've decided who we let in and who we don't. We have laws for that. I just met an Aussie military who fought in our wars in Afghanistan. In the Australian military, he fought in Afghanistan, but come on, the Aussies didn't really care about Afghanistan. They were helping us out, right? And then he came to America, and he now has a resident alien card or something, and he's been trying to get a green card, and I admit to ignorance. I was asking him, so what's the difference, man? Well, with a resident card that he has, if he leaves the country, they may not let him back in. He has a life here. He has a job. He has a house. And so if he leaves, they may not let him back in. With a green card, you can come and go. He's been doing this for years, and I think he told me he's into it like $10,000-$15,000 already to become an American, and he's already served our nation. So why should? Oh, and he said the reason it's taken so long is because of the DACA stuff, the Dreamers and stuff. That's using up resources that then can't be dedicated towards the people who are following the rules. And so it's been taking a long time for this to happen for him. So we have rules for how to get in, and they're not being followed. Trump has said that he will call on the military to stop them if he has to. What will that look like? I don't know. I'm glad I'm not doing it. On the one hand, it's a no-win situation if you've got to deal with thousands and thousands of women and children who are trying to get in and you've been told do not let them cross that line. Desperate humanity. On the other hand, I personally would take a very hard stance on it, which I'm not going to say here, but it would make me unpopular in the world. Cross this line and die. And I would shoot the first person who put a toe across the line. There, I guess I told you. A-10s, baby. Brad's on the border. You can't do that. I think that Trump will probably get it solved through other means before it becomes a huge problem. I think he's going to put enormous pressure on Mexico. I think that there's probably going to be some things going on behind the scenes to try to divert and diversify or dilute this column, but maybe not. It's the barbarian hordes invading the empire. Go back and read Glubb, Sir John Glubb. Go back and read The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. Look what's happening. The writing's on the wall. So there's that. What's going to happen in the end? I don't know. Stay tuned, sports fans. You'll see more and more news the closer this column gets to the border. Let's talk about Khashoggi. I'm coming back to the border thing and Khashoggi. Let's talk about Khashoggi. Khashoggi is the guy who walked into the Saudi Arabian consulate in Turkey and didn't walk out. And pretty good reporting now says that he was probably dead within half an hour of entering the thing. Looks like he might have died badly. They definitely cut him up. Whether they did so when he was alive or not, I don't know. And, you know, Trump said Saudi Arabia will pay a very heavy price for this if, in fact, they are behind it. And then now he's backing off of that going, hey, look, you know, Saudi Arabia is going to buy $1 bazillion worth of military equipment from us, which equals jobs in America. And if we say no, they're just going to buy it from the Russians. You know, they're still going to have the gear. Couple things there. Number one, why the heck do we care? How many people in the world in the last, what's it been, a couple weeks? In the past couple weeks have been tortured to death? How many? A lot. How many people in the United States have been tortured and killed in the last couple weeks? A lot. So why do we care about Khashoggi? He's not even an American. He was, I think he was a resident, right? He was on some kind of visa. He worked for the Washington Post, but he was not an American citizen. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, non-American citizen. Who cares? Why do we care? Why are they trying to make us care? Who cares? I don't care. On the one hand, yes, I feel bad for everybody who's murdered for no reason and tortured and blah, blah. On the one hand. On the other hand, I'm not willing to change national policy over it. You know, before you talk about the mote in your brother's eye, how about that beam, that 2x4 that's sticking out of your own eye? Before we worry about what's going on with Turkey and Saudi Arabia vis-a-vis one dude, why don't we look at what happened in Chicago or Washington, D.C. in the last 2 weeks? What, New York City had the first weekend in a long time with no murder? Woohoo! Come on, man. Why do we care? Why do you care? Why is it in the news? It's all over the news. Why? Because you're being played. We'll get back to that. The election. Election's coming up. Midterms. Oh, the Dems are going to take the House and then we're going to impeach Trump. First of all, if they do take the House or the Senate, and they do bring up impeachment against Trump, you realize that the country's gone, right? We have a duly elected president who hasn't done anything wrong, you know, worthy of impeachment since he got into office, and they're talking about, yeah, but we don't like the way the people voted, so we're just going to impeach him. That's not the way the government's supposed to work. And if the government doesn't work, if we, the people, cannot express our will and influence things from the ballot box, and they're not letting us on the soapbox, our voices like mine are continuously quieted down, removed. What remains, Vikings? What remains? And so the elections, you know, you're hearing about that a lot in the news. To the extent that it matters, go vote. Khashoggi, the elections, the column coming up, big things. You know what you're not hearing about? What about mean old ISIS? What happened to them? We win? They're gone? They're dead? No, they're still there. What about Syria and Russia and going to war with Russia over Syria, man? What about that? Did that just resolve? No, same stuff's going on. What about Iran developing nukes and we're going to come get them? Did that go away? No, it's still going on. But you don't hear about it. What about North Korea? Are they getting rid of their nukes or aren't they? Is the deal working? Are they cheating or not? Are we going to war with North Korea? Not talking about that anymore, are they? These things were so important not that long ago. No one's talking about them anymore. They're talking about 10,000 person column. See, that fits in your head really good. That's a good picture. And they're making sure they show you pictures of a column of people walking. 10,000 people in a column coming to our border. Locks it in your head. It's a psychological thing. This guy Khashoggi chopped up in little pieces in the consulate by the evil Saudis. They are evil. They are. But you cannot mix personal relationships with national relationships. I would not be a friend of somebody. I would not do business with somebody who chopped people up. In that part of the world, I'll be friends, as a nation, I'll be friends with whoever gets our agenda furthered. That's realpolitik, friends. You're being played. What can you do about Khashoggi? Not a darn thing. What can you do about the 10,000 people coming on the border? Nothing. If you live down around the border, you should have moved already. Oh yeah, here, let me give you that. Let me give you this little tidbit. You know how I've told the South Africans move and most of them are like, we can't, it's too late? Read Civil War II by Chittum. If you live in the desert Southwest, you need to move. Aztlan, Southern California, all there. Yeah, if you live on the border, you need to move. Sell now while you can get some money for it. It ain't getting better. It's all part of the design. This US of A is gonna crumble. It's designed to do so. And it's gonna start like a cookie, crumbling around the edges. Yeah, if you live down there, you need to move. You need to move now. I told you. You can't do anything about the column. You really can't do anything about the elections, whether you vote or not. You can't do anything about Khashoggi and what we do or don't do vis-a-vis Saudi Arabia. The only thing you can do is what you can do. You know, I say do the best you can with what you got where you're at. That's all you can do. You need to get you and yours ready for the chaos that is coming. I'm not even touching on finances, but there's a lot of stuff burbling up in the sphere about how we're in trouble financially. I watched a boring, I think one of y'all recommended it too. I'm sorry, it was boring, but maybe not. Maybe I found it just by doing that, following the rabbit holes on YouTube. But it was some dude giving a talk on how to survive economic collapse. And I thought, okay, this will be good. So it was an hour talk. I don't have an hour usually to watch videos, but I took an hour. Actually, that's not true. I fast forwarded a lot. He spent the first 45 minutes talking about how an economic collapse is gonna happen. And then he spent 15 minutes and he even kind of did a poo-poo right before he did it. And you all kind of know what you need to do. I'm not telling you anything. It's like, well, then why did you take up an hour of everybody's time, dude, and title it How to Survive an Economic Collapse? You know what he said? Get as self-sufficient as possible. Yep, here, let me show you what I'm looking at. Woodshed. Need to get some more wood. But that's in the plan. I have enough for now. Solar power. Pond, not a great pond. Garden, compost, goats, solar dryer. Yeah, Chickens over there. Chickens right there. Did you see the chickens over there? Free ranging. Dogs. Water. I'm trying to lead by example. You know, this whole little setup right here that I just showed you is only on acre and a half, maybe. The little setup I just showed you here. Here, I'll do another little spin, shall we? Get this tripod up. All right, ready? Chicken coop back there. Off-grid house. All right, acre and a half. Are you ready for what's coming? Instead of spending, because a lot of y'all asked me for situation updates, you said you appreciate my take on it. I appreciate your appreciation, thank you. I'm not trying to belittle it, but what I'm learning more and more, which is why I've been doing less and less situation updates, is it doesn't matter and we're all being played. You don't have all source intelligence. You have what's being fed to you. They're feeding it to you for a reason. They're trying to manipulate you and control you. Your emotions, your psyche, your thought patterns. If you only see these two things, you can only plan, so the thinking goes, and it works for most people to the extent that they plan it all, for those two things. When in reality, there's all this going on. The big reality, I talk about realpolitik, let's talk about real preparedness. Do the best you can with what you got where you're at. Don't look for, don't anticipate more information to spur you, to motivate you to prepare. The wise man sees the danger approaching and hides himself, right? You shouldn't need me anymore, or people like me, to tell you times are coming. You shouldn't need me to tell you you need to get ready. You should be doing it yourself. And you should be spending every waking moment working towards the goal of total self-sufficiency. Every waking moment. Yeah, you may have a job, a job, that you have to go to so that you can afford to get your kids shoes or buy food or whatever you want to do. But man, that money that doesn't go to your kids' shoes or food on the table should be going to food in your larder, to getting you a little place again like this. Constant improvement. See, a lot of people on YouTube see that and go, your place is a mess. What are you doing? Pick up. No, I'm going to get to it. I'm killing weeds right here with this cardboard. We're going to put the cardboard inside the box, which I built to keep the solar panels from flipping over backwards. It's like a bed frame in the ground. Then we're going to put mulch on it, and then we're going to plant strawberries in it. A low bush that won't come up and occlude the solar panels, but it'll be useful. Constant forward progress, right? Food. You got to grow your own food, produce your own food. Forget about Khashoggi being chopped up. Forget about this column coming. How are you going to feed your family 18 months after the collapse? There won't be any more canned goods left in Walmart. Won't be a Walmart. You'll either be in the camp, in the government system with your little wristband on, or your tattoo, the mark of the beast, or whatever, your biochip, getting fed by them and being used as slave labor, or you're going to be on your own. That's why you're going to need people. That's why you're going to need to have yourself set up. And the more you dance around with this world, whether that be chasing the shiny things, the little baubles, or being interested in what the world's interested in and following, dripping on every little piece of news, to the extent that you do that is to the extent that you're killing yourself down the road. It's past time to get serious. Get serious, people. Get ready. Winter is coming.